What's that thing that hurts but you constantly lie to yourself that it's fine? Loneliness. I have acquaintances and people like me. Few people really like me enough to be friends with me, and I spend most of my time alone. I'm used to it, but it eats away at you. My now ex would never compliment me or initiate sex. As a man, you just kind of accept that, at least in my experience. I broke up with her a couple of days ago and I feel liberated, but deep down that still hurts. Zero confidence here, been running on an empty tank for the past 15 years. Nowadays, I just brutishly bulldoze through things with a no fucks given attitude, oftentimes with good results. Ironically, by all outward appearances seems to be the definition of confidence, but it really isn't in my case. I've just gotten good at lying to myself that it isn't, selling the lie to others. That I don't have enough friends and am generally not an interesting person to be around. I refuse to fully be myself at all time. While spiritually it would be worth it, the mental energy involved dealing with other people's reactions to me being me is just not worth it. So I usually fuck off and be me in obtuse places. Edit, there is a huge difference between putting on a work face and just refusing to engage. We are paid to turn up and ensure harmony to achieve common goals outside ourselves. To sacrifice who we are to a degree is accepted at work. Although my cousin doesn't and he's my idol, I'm talking real life, real world interactions. Day to day. Hello mother, hello friends. You will get some amenable version of me that I'm not really a fan of but causes no trouble. Birthdays, holidays. I don't really have any immediate family, just some cousins that don't live anywhere close. Parents, aunts, grandparents, etc. All dead. My ex-wife doesn't really do anything with the kids for that stuff for me, cause that's just how it is. Kids are young enough that they depend on her to make stuff happen still. Like, I got literally nothing for Christmas from my family this year. My girl does a bit but we don't really do gifts much. So, I don't do anything for my birthday, which is coming up, or holidays cause I just know it will be another disappointment. I tell everyone I don't care but it really kind of tears me up that after taking care of everyone, this is what it's come down to. Edit, thank you everyone for the kind words and gestures. But, I really don't want gifts or any of that. That wasn't really the point of what I wrote. My life is good, I've got a great kids, a great girlfriend, I'm healthy and doing well. If you take anything from this, just remember to reach out to your friends and family members and let them know they're important to you. I keep ignoring my anxiety and insecurities. I need to speak about them more but I am scared to. That due to events that have happened and keep happening in my life, along with my own choices, I'll likely end up alone. It's not too bad but it still hurts sometimes. Last couple of girlfriends, girls I dated have ghosted me. I tell myself that it is fine and it's the new normal in our society, but really it just makes me feel unworthy and used. I had a tooth crack almost down to the gums a couple of years ago that I still haven't root canaled. Hate the dentist so damn much. I know that I get hung up on girls that eye me too easily, and I have some abandonment issues that sends me into a downward spiral. It happens all the time and I wish I knew how to control it. I try to stay as guarded as possible when meeting new people because I figure if I never get to know them then I won't have to feel alone when they're gone. I was a fat kid growing up. Got bullied horribly for it. Now I'm in my late 20s and I've had a good physique for the last 12 or so years. When friends joke about me being fat by eating something unhealthy, it hurts. My height. My family always stressed eating a lot and growing all as a kid, but I just never had an appetite. Now I'm an adult, I'm a bit below average height and my relatives never fail to bring it up, with comments like you would be so handsome if you were a little taller, if only he was taller he would be perfect. NGL, it's eaten my self-confidence quite a bit and I regularly blame my height for love, social life problems, though I always tell people my height doesn't bother me, deep down it does, and I'm always asking myself what if. Edit, I'm 170 centimeters or 5'7" Asian guy in Australia for reference. Not super short, but definitely towards the lower end of the scale, that I feel like my boyfriend doesn't actually love me. That he is with me for convenience and cheap living expenses. The passion and sex are completely gone after 6 months. Yet we both continue on as if nothing is amiss. I know one day he will leave. Possibly without saying anything, but I pretend that it is okay for now. Some days I drown in sadness, others I lock it up inside and feel nothing. That my first kiss, with someone I actually wanted to be with, ended up with her literally cringing and withdrawing. It was because of past abuse, and I can say that it was not because of me, but man it hurts like hell. I'm 29 and have never been in a relationship. I know it's gonna take a concentrated effort to get me to a point where I'd even deem myself ready for one, but I'm having a really hard time working out how to approach this and I'm barely managing to get all the other shit done that takes priority over it. I'm way too timid in general and I feel like it's holding me back from forming any meaningful bonds with anyone. I'm going to be alone and a failure my entire life. Going on 27 years, the only control I have is deciding when I'm going to die. The number of people my girlfriend slept with, honestly. It's a lot. Isn't really cool to say it bothers you in today's society. Definitely does, and we do have discussions and talks about that. But I don't think she realizes it's every single day that it hurts and did never tell her. Everything else is legit perfect in our relationship, so I keep it inside. I hate my job, but I'm supporting a family and can't take the pay cut to leave. The anxiety I get for not doing uni assignments in time just because of video games, I always say I can do the assignments later and most of the time I end up with an at most mediocre work. I kind of acknowledge that I have an addiction but I don't have the enough willingness to get over it, and I know then it is my responsibility to change it and no other people. I know I can do better, be better, but it's so hard. On the other hand, I kind of hate myself because of how easy should it be to get over this. The fact that people usually don't truly care about what you have to say. It sucks that I got the insight a little bit ago that people don't really care how your day was. The fact that you put in the work to get something you've wanted. The fact that you're starting a new hobby. It sucks that people don't care how you're feeling, that when you're feeling down, you have to put on a strong face to toughen up. A few people I know think I'm cocky, but it's simply that when I'm working out, or playing a video game, or running, or anything else I do, I think of how I got myself there, without someone's help or encouragement. I was the shoulder to lean on, somebody to listen. In essence, I'm not cocky, I just have to pick up the slack myself, where nobody else really cares. It's sad but something I accept. That thing is the feeling when someone you love and allowed yourself to be vulnerable with has rejected you. The fact that my past 3 boyfriends broke up with me. They all ended reasonably, but for some odd reason they made me doubt myself. It's been 1.5 years since the last and I've been terrified of dating. I know I'm going to jail on Thursday. Nobody knows this. I'm telling everyone I'll go on a long trip by myself. Where to start? Well, I guess the main thing RN is my GF going to parties, drinking, while she doesn't go often, and when she does she goes with friends that we trust. I just can't get rid of the tight feeling in my chest. It doesn't help the fact that, due to some past experiences which I won't get into, I have a severe phobia of alcohol. I tell her all the time it's fine, don't worry, go and have fun, but deep down I'm terrified. We are in LDR, and she knows that I have a problem with alcohol and parties. I hurt my knee in college. It didn't seem that bad, no obvious signs of sprains or deeper injury. I just banged it on a rock and it hurt. But it didn't quite heal right, and I know now at this point that even if I do go to the doctor, the damage is done and it will be expensive, invasive, dangerous knee surgery to get it fixed. So for the last 8-ish years I've just dealt with it. It isn't excruciating, I wouldn't even call it bad, but it can really start to hurt over prolonged periods of not being able to stretch. Also, I've moved to a much warmer climate that helps. That I had to break up with a nice, kind stunning girl who no one knows was emotionally abusive, not even her. I tell myself I will find someone as great as her, but Narc Love says otherwise. I'm in love with my best friend, who has a boyfriend. I keep it to myself. She's really happy with him, and I'd rather hurt and be sad than risk ruining everything for a teensy-weensy chance. I'm 26 and I feel like I'm realizing lately that I'm not as smart as I thought I was. I never had this idea that I was upper echelon with my intelligence, but the past couple of years have been humbling. I've never considered myself dumb, but I'm also not the quickest learner, and I fear I come off as slow. On top of this, I care way too much what others think of me. Even posting this I feel like people will read it and deem my issues as inadequate and not a big deal. I wish I could go to therapy, but I don't have the money for it. I really don't want to have any kids. There are so many reasons not to, and that resonates with me. But I'm so very scared of being alone when I'm old and dying. The thought of lying on my deathbed not surrounded by family is a terrifying, painful emptiness. Also, that I will likely pass before my wife, statistics say so, and leave her alone feels like the worst possible thing I could do to her. But I continue to tell myself that I can't make decisions for my entire life based on 1 or 2 moments of the future. My 40th came and went with little notice. My wife gave me a present, which I still love. My mother brought me an ice cream cake from DQ. I don't eat fast food and am lactose intolerant. My father invited me to his house so we can all make fun of you for being old. I declined. I don't have many friends and don't expect a giant surprise party, but some thoughtful gesture from friends or family would have been nice. I don't talk about it, but 6 months later I still think about it almost daily. Edit, I am not seeking sympathy or pity, I literally just answered Dop's question. If you'd like to troll, please move along. I'll only downvote you. I have never had a girlfriend, and I turned 31 this year. I was socially anxious as a teen, and now life just keeps getting in the way. I cannot pull myself to work out. I rarely have time, I'm busy from 6 to 8 p.m. most days, and when I do, I start and just give up instantaneously. I know I need to work out, I really do, but damn it if I just do not have the willpower to make it happen. My current relationship. I know I'm better off without her, but I'm not too sure I can after almost 6 years together. My blood sugars, I'm a type 1 diabetic and they run a lot higher than they should. I am slowly destroying my insides and pretend it's all going to be okay. I drink a lot. I forget what happens most nights before I get a couple flashing memories some mornings. I do a lot of dumb embarrassing shit, so I just tell myself since the memory isn't complete, it didn't happen. I may never be the best at whatever I do, but at least I try my best and give an earnest effort. But my best is never good enough, and it kills me that I might never reach a peak, or if my peak has already passed. Man, fuck birthdays. Facebook just makes it worse. I keep thinking I'll hide my birthday so no one gets notifications, so I don't have to pretend to be thankful to people who talk to me one day out of the year. I'm just attractive enough for hookup culture, but not attractive enough for a relationship. Eventually, my existence will stop. I won't notice. I lie to myself that it's fine, that there's probably an afterlife, that I'll be remembered. But let's be honest, all 3 of those aren't true. That I don't miss my ex in some way, I don't want her back, but I'm still sad I don't have her around. My wife is away visiting family and took our daughter. The house is quiet and lonely without them. The first few days were fine, but after several days of sitting alone watching YouTube, it hit me. Thanks to genetics I'm virtually guaranteed to face heart disease and diabetes later in life, but I'm still not willing to make lifestyle changes to prevent or hinder them from killing me. I have several lipomas. One near my bicep causes my fingertips to go numb and one in my back is always itchy. I had those 2 checked out and they are non-cancerous, however I have about 12. Frankly, I want them all removed, but I don't want to shell out the approx $6,000 it would cost. My DACA status and the fact that I can be kicked out of this country, especially since the executive order is gone. I may just have to make plans to teach English in another country and learn my native language soon. I stopped watching the news as much since it stresses me out, and the only way I can function on a daily basis to keep my anxiety and depression about the issue is to ignore it as much as possible. It's just this looming problem that I don't really have any control over. My options are to wait for the MAVNI program to be reinitiated so that I can get citizenship by potentially risking my life or finding someone who will want to marry me. When I started at my current job, I was very friendly, kind, etc. I find it tough to be mean or rude. I'm also very quiet and introverted. Anyway, when I started, I tried to break out of my shell and be a little more outgoing and talk more. Tell some jokes, help out my coworkers, etc. One day my coworker let it slip that there was a group chat with all of my coworkers. She said something like, "I'll send it on the group chat." I didn't make it awkward by asking, but I found out it was made a little after I started. I didn't know. After clocking out for lunch, I left the building, sat in my car in the parking lot and started to cry. I dealt with it by just thinking it's okay, you're only here to work. A toxic relationship with an ex-fiancé that I still have feelings for, almost a year later. We still talk and see each other, and she almost certainly doesn't want to try and work things out anytime soon, but I can't seem to tell her no when she asks for help or to see me. All my friends and family think I'm crazy, but I keep telling myself not to give up on it, and I know I'm hurting and lying to myself every day. 22 years/0 never been in a relationship, no friends except for my colleagues at work whom I get along with but don't talk to them outside of work hours, and I still tell myself that I don't need anyone and prefer to be alone. It's been a very lonely life for me. Added some stuff, grammar. My daughter passed recently and I logic to myself that I'm fine and such, but that is a lie. I tell myself people lose their kids all the time and still carry on, and I should be like them because neither I or my situation is special. This has happened to me every year since I've been 16. 26 now, and I know it shouldn't bother me, but the past 6 years they've gone on trips and a few included my brother but not myself because of school. They literally catered the date to him but did not care that it was my birthday.